Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this lecture, we are going to cover resources and development, that is Geography Class 10 Part 1. We are going to cover this whole chapter in 2 lectures. So let's begin. So what is a resource? What is the name of the chapter? The name of the chapter is Resources and Development. So it is very important and crucial to understand at the very base and the beginning that what is a resource. So let's begin. Resource: everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs. So anything which you can see in your environment near you which can be used to satisfy your needs, and it should be maintaining three categories as well. That is, the resource should be technologically accessible to you, it should be economically feasible to you, it should be culturally acceptable. So these three conditions, if it is matching and it is available in your environment and it can be used to satisfy your needs, then it is called as a resource. So now I will ask you a question, that are we humans a resource? Yes, we humans also come under the category of a resource. Anything in our environment that we can use to satisfy our needs and is technologically accessible, economically affordable, acceptable culturally is termed as a resource. Humans are dominant components of resources. Why? Because we convert materials available in our environment to satisfy our needs into resources and we use them. We use technology to convert resources present in our environment. That is the skill. Classification of resources. See, you can see the table below, that is resources. It can be categorized into natural and human. See, these are naturally available, for example, renewable and non-renewable sources, and humans, that is man-made. We are creating it. For example, structures and institutions, quantity and quality, which we are going to study further. Now, resource classification. You can, right now I told you that what is a resource, right? It is anything that is available in your environment and which satisfies your needs. So we are going to classify them on the basis of origin. See, on the basis of origin, there can be two types of resources, that is biotic resources and abiotic resources. You have to learn the heading. See, biotic resources are the resources which are obtained from living things in the environment. Living things, right? Which can breathe. For example, plants, animals, birds, etc. Right? When we're talking about abiotic resources, it is completely opposite to biotic resources. What are biotic? Biotic means obtained from living things. So abiotic means obtained from non-living things. Can you name any non-living things around you? For example, which can't breathe. For example, rocks, mountains, soil, etc. Right? Second categorization is on the basis of exhaustibility. What is the meaning of exhaustibility? The ability to replenish. For example, renewable sources and non-renewable sources. When we talk about renewable sources, they are also called as replenishable resources and non-renewable resources. Third is on the basis of ownership. Ownership means who owns those resources, right? On the basis of individual, community, national and international. When we talk about individual resources, for example, your private plots, your farms, your own house, that is an individual resource because you own it. Second is on the basis of community. Community owned resource. It is owned by a community near you. Example, burial grounds, playgrounds, public wells, public washrooms, etc. These are community owned because that is not your private property. Third is natural resources, national and international resources. For example, our domestic territory, that is mineral resources, water resources, forest. International resources means these resources are under the rules and regulations of an international country. For example, the water or the ocean beyond 200 nautical miles is under a country. Now, on the basis of status of development, the development is type of three types: potential, developed, stock and reserve. What is the meaning of potential resources? These resources are the resources which have been found in a region but yet to be utilized. Means they are not yet utilized but they are present in a region. Second is developed. What are developed resources? These are the resources which have been researched upon and their quality and quantity have already decided by making utilization of them. Next is a stock. You have read about stock and flow concept in economics. It is quite related. For example, these are the sources which have the potential to be utilized by human beings, but we do not have adequate technology to utilize them, right? We do not know how to use them. For example, you have to convert certain things to use them. You can't use them raw. Lastly and fourth is reserves. Reserves just like stock, but these are resources which can be put to use with technology as they have not been used. Okay, what are reserves? We can use them with technology. Now moving further, what is sustainable development? This is very important. What is sustainable development? You know what is development? But what is sustainable development? There's a difference between development and growth, right? Sustainable development means development should take place without damaging the environment, right? And development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generations. So, what is development? It should take place without damaging the environment. There are two crucial things in this, that is, without damaging the environment. There should be no damage to the environment, and we should also not compromise with the needs of the future generations. We should also take care of the needs of the future generations. Now, there is an important Earth Summit, that is a first international Earth Summit which was held in Rio de Janeiro. It can come like in which country? It was in Brazil in 1992, right? It was the first international Earth Summit. What was the aim? The aim was to address urgent problems of environmental protection. Okay, the environmental protection, any problem related to that was issued in that summit. What do we achieve? What was the aim? What was the conclusion? We adopted Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21? It is to achieve sustainable development in the 21st century. What was the major objective of the aim of the Agenda 21 aim? It is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21, right? Now, development of resources. What do we mean by development of resources? See, human utilize resources indiscriminately, right? Which has led to so many problems. Resources are limited, right? The resources have been concentrated in few hands, and this has caused rapid depletion of certain resources. See, there are two major issues, that is environmental issues like global warming, ozone layer depletion, and accumulation of resources in few hands. This has created divided in society, which is created into rich and poor. So what is the solution? That is resource planning. If you will plan it adequately, if you will follow sustainable development, then there will be not much problem of resources. For example, resource planning just means resource distribution so that it is accessible to everyone. There is no discrimination. Sustainable economic development without damaging the environment of the present generations and does not compromise with the needs of the future generations. Now, conservation of resources. Why do we need to conserve the resource, right? There are ample amount of resources around you, but why do we need to conserve it? Because resources are limited. We have limited resources around us and we have unlimited wants. So, we have to use those very much limited resources judiciously. The irrational consumption of overutilization of resources, and see, why do we need to conserve the resources? There are two major points. First is the irrational consumption and second is overutilization. So what we need to do is, we have to do, as I've said you, we have to do resource planning, resource distribution so that it is accessible to everyone and is not concentrated into the hands of few people, and for that there will be no rich and poor. Now these irrational consumption and utilization of resources has led to environmental issues such as global warming and climate change, ozone layer depletion and whatnot, and social issues, for example poverty, unemployment, because resources are not properly available to everybody. So in this first lecture we have completed this. In the second lecture we are going to complete about the land resources, land utilization, land degradation, classification of soils. I hope you have liked this lecture. Thank you so much for watching.